Well, back at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh, Scotland. Howard David with Tim Green. And a day with a little bit of wind, but not an awful lot. And also a day where we have seen the rushing of the Scottish Claymores thus far dominating the time of possession, as you can see at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, no question. Whenever you have this, it always correlates to your time of possession, and a lot of that has been Saran Stacey. Most all of it.
Short kickoff that goes out of bounds, and that's just a bad play.
Sure,
that's not the way you want to start the second half.
No, absolutely. That's going to give Amsterdam excellent field position on the 35-yard line. There you see Lamley. I mean, he ended the first half poorly with a missed field goal. Now starting this half poorly.
Out of bounds. By rule, the ball will be put in play at the 40-yard line. First down.
I like what my high school defensive line coach and my defensive line coach also in college at Syracuse University always used to say about kicking. He'd always get mad whenever a kicker would make a mistake because he'd say, hey, all you got to do is swing your damn leg.
Try it, coach.
I agree with him, though. I mean,
yeah, well,
all you got to do is swing your leg, and you got to get out there and at least keep that kickoff in bounds.
So in a 3-3 game, we start the second half, and Moss hogtied as he crosses the 40 to the 42-yard line. Each team at 2-3 on the year, and this a very important game for either Al Luganbill, now trying to stay dry in the most primitive way he knows, or Jim Kreiner, his counterpart.
Well, so far, Al Luganbill's offensive plan, really, of 4 wide receivers, has not been that effective. Mostly because Jay Fiedler has not been that effective.
Fiedler to try to throw, and makes the connection to Robert Hall across the 45-yard line. How much has the weather played a role in the plan of Kreiner and Luganbill today?
Well, I don't know, because they've really stuck to their plan, but I don't know how much it's affected what's going on out there. Now, Kreiner's got to be happy because his run game is going, and Saran Stacey's making those great cuts, even on a sloppy field. Luganbill can't be happy because the effectiveness of his 4 wide receiver formation has not been high, although Fiedler made a nice pass on the last play.
They get a false start as they stop the play before it unfolds. Amsterdam coming off a heartbreaking loss a week ago to Barcelona. It appears that the flag is going to go against Amsterdam. It is false start. Well, Ron Lewis moved because Jason Simmons, who's gotten
5-yard penalty, still third down.
I mentioned that Lewis moved because Jason Simmons got him a little bit of a bluff.
That's a lot of stuff to move.
Simmons led the barrage the last time these two teams played with 6 quarterback sacks. Now a 3rd down and 9 for Amsterdam. Fiedler buying some real estate, takes off.
Nice feet.
Takes a shot and still gets the first down. What an
outstanding play. You know, Jerry Crafts told us yesterday, he said, our offensive line loves this guy, Jay Fiedler, because he's tough, he gets rid of the ball, and if he doesn't get rid of the ball, he's not a guy who stands around and takes a sack. And there you see Crafts working on Simmons right in the front, and he knows he doesn't have to hold his guy long because there goes Fiedler. Now watch this. This isn't something a quarterback is supposed to do, but Fiedler's doing it because he wants to win this football game. He wants to keep his starting position and get back to the National Football League.
Gain of a first down, and the handoff. It is Moss to the near side inside the 45-yard line. Key matchup, we talked about it. Jerry Crafts, the left tackle, and Jason Simmons, the right defensive end.
Here's Crafts right here, and you see him working on Simmons. Now, Crafts weighs about 380 pounds. So all he's got to do is get that big, like, wall of China in front of Jason Simmons, just momentarily. And then there's just too much real estate to cover. He's got too much to go around for Simmons to get in on the play.
It's all that cheesecake from yesterday.
Man, cheesecake and more. Some haggis.
The draw to Brent Moss to the 40-yard line. George Coghill Coghill has to be annoyed that he missed a tackle on Fiedler because he had a good shot at him, and Fiedler did a nice job of eluding Coghill.
Well, he did, and Fiedler's got great, quick feet. But here we see Moss using his feet. And now, again, Howard, this is what Amsterdam wanted to do. They wanted to spread the defense with 4 wide receivers split out wide. Open it up in the passing game, but also open up the inside for Brent Moss.
Quick drop by Fiedler and just throws that one away, and his intended receiver, Diedrich Smith, was completely covered like a blanket.
Boy, those guys were getting mugged over there. I mean, that looked like something that, would go on in the bad part of town. I mean, they just had those receivers absolutely covered. No place for Fiedler to throw that football.
Well, Fiedler said one of his problems with Diedrich Smith is because he's only 5'8". He has a hard time finding him. Brian Graggart, leading kicker, second leading kicker of the World League. It's a good snap from center, and Demetrius Martin awaiting the kick. This looks like it's going to be an effective kick, and again it dies because of the soggy turf. At the 5-yard line, looked like one of my 9-irons with a little backspin.
That's the second time Graggart has pinned Scotland down there.
Head coach of the Scottish Claymores and a world-class fly fisherman, Jim Greiner. Well, week 1 at the new Amsterdam Arena. NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue on your left, out for the coin flip. Admiral Stadium debut, spoiled, however, by the Claymores' Ron Dickerson, who racked up 92 rushing yards, including a 26-yard TD in the Claymore victory. It's 3-3 in the rematch. And deep in their own territory, Barr on the handoff to Stacy. No, sir. He was level. And Lillibridge in on the play.
Well, see, what Al Luganbill, the defensive coordinator and head coach for the Admirals, did at halftime was he said, look, they're beating us with Saran Stacy. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up our safeties and our linebackers. We've got to shut him down.
Luganbill also the defensive coordinator. They go to Stacy, sweeping to the right side, and a lot of running room. Heck of a play by Saran Stacy, and appears to be enough for a first down. Jeff Russell knocked him upside down with help from Robert O'Neill, but Saran Stacy got him out of the hole.
And a great job by Stacy's blockers up front. Watch Caiello and his offensive line, they give him the corner. And once Stacy's got the corner, look at his eyes, look at his focus, his concentration. He can make things happen if you give him that corner.
13 yards in the play, Saran running left this time.
Again.
And he is finally pushed out by Tommy Jones, the right quarterback.
How about the punishment? I mean, it's not enough that Saran Stacy is getting the corner and putting his speed on. Watch the punishment he delivers as he goes around the left side. So he's got the corner, and there it is, and now here comes the tackler, Tommy Jones, puts his shoulder down and runs Jones over. 23 yards in 2 plays, back-to-back, and Stacy closing in on 100 yards for the afternoon. 1st and 10, Claymores. Stacy trying to find some place to go, and the middle was clogged. He tried the left side and ran right into Gary Howe, the defensive left tackle. And you saw on that play the Amsterdam Admirals defensive ends shooting straight upfield. And that's what they've got to do. They can't give Saran Stacy that corner. Well, look at these guys breathing. There's big Gary Howe. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff to move around. He's got about 340 pounds of it. And they've been out on the field a long time because of Saran Stacy's running.
They go to Stacy again. Behind his fullback across the 30 to the 31-yard line. And a gain of 3 more on the play. But once again, Gary Howe, who was ejected last week in the loss to Barcelona. And they're starting to huff and puff, and big Mike Evans.
Yeah, you know when your guys are tired, when their jerseys are hanging out and they don't have the gumption to tuck them back in. Look at that, mouth wide open, breathing hard, jerseys hanging out, dirt all over. These guys have been out there a long time, and they are getting worn out.
3rd down and 6. Barr to throw. No, sir. On his back he goes. And this time, Gary Howe, who apparently was insulted by your comments, decided to put him down.
Well, actually, Mike Evans is the guy who got it, but I guess they weren't tired enough once he got the quarterback in his sights. Here's Evans, 97, coming from the outside. He just gets up underneath his blocker and forces him right back up into Gary Howe.
But you're right. Evans, the one that forced him into Howell. And they take exception to Tim Green. Obviously, their helmets are wired with our broadcast.
Yeah, they must not have been that tired, but that's a tough thing. I mean, now these guys are going to have to go over there and really get some air. Here's where you look for the oxygen mask. I don't know if they have those over here in the World League.
Lamley to kick it away, and sails a beauty to Russell. Ho, ho, ho. Talk about timing. Yes, indeed. Charles Swan, allocated by St. Louis, timed that play well, and Russell paid the price.
I mean, what would cause you to want to go up and return punts? Look at that punt coverage.
In Edinburgh, the home of Edinburgh Castle.
Castle, the Haggis, Holyrood Palace, and the Queen's Palace. There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, there's a lot of great things to see in Edinburgh.
We sampled a little haggis last night.
And we're still here to talk about it.
Fiedler to throw on first down. A lot of time. And it's picked off. Charles Swan. Well, the first meeting, Amsterdam. Watch Scotland sack him 6 times. They haven't gotten to the Amsterdam quarterback this time, but a bad throw by Fiedler with all the time he had to throw.
Howard, Fiedler has absolutely no juice on this ball. Watch the trajectory of the ball, and that's what allows Swan to turn around. Watch the ball. It goes up in the air, up, and there's a curve on it, and it comes down, and his receiver is there, but that's a ball you've got to throw on a direct line. Nice work by Charles Swan, turning around and instantly picking up that ball and picking it off.
Allocated by the Rams, and here's Stacy off and running again. Inside the 30-yard line. The second turnover of the contest. The first one a fumble recovery by Mark Logan.
Well, I know Jim Kreiner wants to mix up and put a little pass in his offensive game, but Soren Stacy is just giving him an outstanding performance. And when you're this close to the goal line, you've got to be tempted to just hand it off to Stacy.
Gain of 5. Stacy trying the middle. Not much there this time. Cedric Figueroa, who played his college ball at Notre Dame, is in on the stop. You know, we talked early in the first part of the game about this man right here, Mark Lillibridge. They've done a good job of kind of containing him a little bit.
Well, they have, especially when Soren Stacy has gone up the middle. He's found that Cedric Figueroa and Mark Lillibridge, both in on this play, have really focused in on him. Stacy has had most of his success when he's gotten the corner, gotten to the edge of the defense.
Stacy hurries off the field as the play clock down to 1, and Barr gets off the play. A slant intended for the tight end, Ricky Brady, and a good defensive play by Figueroa, dropping back into coverage.
Figueroa is really doing all of it today. I mean, we've seen him filling instantly on the run. We've seen him taking Stacy down from behind. And now we see him with some outstanding pass coverage on the tight end, Ricky Brady. That's just how you want to do it, just how Figueroa did it. You keep your body, you play that tight end like a basketball player, like you're guarding a guy in basketball, body to body, and when his hands go up, your hand goes out to slap that ball down.
44-yard attempt for Wayne Lamley. Hartzell to put it down, a high snap. It is no good. It is a little bit short, and Lamley unable to deliver. That one looked like it was on target.
You don't change anything. Safety, you're inside out. On sweat. Hey, Mike, that'll keep you outside of it, okay? All right.
Put the towel on.
Well, no, what's happening is the tackle is too hot to use. What they're doing is they're coming off with wide.
Just goes to show you that you don't care what you look like when you're trying to win a football game.
Well, and now the rain's starting to intensify a little bit here in Scotland. Fiedler to throw on first down. Nice pitch and catch to Diedrich Smith to the near sideline and a first down in front of Charles Swan.
That's a nice throw by Jay Fiedler. That's what he needs to do in order for Amsterdam to win this football game. Nice, sets up, has plenty of time. You see Crafts right in front of him, protecting his blind side. There it is. That's what he's got to do. Now again, he's got a tough job because his receivers are short, so his throws have to be very exact.
4 wideouts, and Fiedler goes to work after a 12-yard pickup. Now just takes off, got a little bit of room to run, gets a first down and more.
Look at that cut back to the
Does a
side.
nice job of cradling the ball inside the 40-yard line. Frederick Ford makes the tackle, but Jay Fiedler with a nice scamper.
Yeah, now watch the protection he gets. Watch Kraft on the right side, giving Fiedler plenty of time, and then there it is. That's what Kraft told us Fiedler will do. He'll pull that ball down if he's not going to throw it. And here's some moves. He cradles the ball, as you said, protecting it nicely and throwing his body around the way you don't expect a quarterback to do it. I mean, he reminds me of Terry Bradshaw. That's what Bradshaw used to do with the Steelers.
17-yard pickup, and this time Ralph Dawkins gets about a yard of the play. So in other words, we're to assume that Jay Fiedler will be working for Fox very soon.
I don't know. I don't know, but that's what it reminds me of. Here you see the penetration by Brad Keeney. I talked about his upper body strength earlier in the game. But for a big guy, and with all that upper body strength on that play, just showed that he's got some quick feet too. Look at that. I mean, there's your quarterback with dirt and grass and mud all over his face. That's the kind of guy you love when you're an offensive lineman. You love to play for a guy like that.
Whoa, look at the time. Picked off and dropped. Oh,
yeah.
that was INT. Deb Terry would like to have it back. Please give me 5 more seconds to redo that whole play.
Tell you, I know that Fiedler's a tough guy, but I was surprised that the officials didn't call a penalty on that last play because Cornell Thomas came around the end and popped Fiedler right in the mask. Watch this here. Now Fiedler gets rid of this ball, and watch the hit right to the head. Now in the National Football League, and there's the ref right there, in the National Football League, that's a 15-yard penalty, that's an ejection from the game, and
Absolutely.
that's a $15,000 fine in your locker the coming week.
Dawkins, that last little hurdle got him a first down. But you're absolutely right. There's just no room for spearing, and that's what that last play was.
Hey, look, I played defensive line in the National Football League for 8 years, and nothing I hated more than a quarterback, and nothing I wanted to do more than to lay one of those guys out. But you can't put your head down and hit him right up underneath the chin like that. But Fiedler, man, I mean, it seems like you could hit him with an anvil and nothing affects him. I mean, he's just out there. He's going about his business. He didn't even flinch.
The last hurdle by Dawkins got the extra 2 he needed for a first down, a gain of 11. First down, and Amsterdam on the move. Oh, this is up for grabs. Easy pickoff by George Coghill. That was too easy. Bad decision by Jay Fiedler, and George Coghill made him pay.
Fiedler trying too hard to make something happen on that play. And the thing that Fiedler forgot is he doesn't have a tall wide receiver. This is a pass you throw if you're Troy Aikman, and you know Michael Irvin is down there. Now look at the pressure. He just gets that ball off, but when you have short wide receivers and tall defensive backs, that's a battle you're always going to lose. Look at that. I mean, it's just a jumping match. And those receivers don't stand a chance. Beautiful play by Coghill.
There's 4 blue shirts around Robert Hall.
No, it's a bad play unless you've got a real tall, athletic wide receiver down there who's going to outfight George Coghill, and that's not an easy task.
Stacy goes to work. What patience. Saran Stacy across the 10-yard line runs into Jay Phillips.
You know, Stacy does a nice job of setting up the defense. Watch him. He uses the blockers. He sets them up to the outside and makes that break back to the inside, right behind Smith. And then again, you see him punishing Jay Phillips. And Stacy really has it all. He's got the vision. He's got the moves. Look at that, 102 yards on the ground today. 1 for everybody else.
Stick a couple of more on that total to the 15-yard line, but it will set up a 3rd down and short. We had mentioned earlier about George Coghill. He made the interception to set up this offensive drive for Scotland. His mom is ailing in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and George wanted his mom to know that he was thinking about her before the game today.
Prayers were with her. as are ours. And what a fine young man. What a fine human being, and really an NFL caliber player. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see him in the National Football League next season.
Third down in the yard, and Stacy again showing the patience. Lillibridge hauls him down shy of the 25-yard line. But another first down for Saran Stacy. Now we're late in the third quarter with a whole fourth quarter to go, Tim. And Saran Stacy and the punishing running, you would think, would take its toll on Amsterdam late in the fourth quarter.
Well, it is taking its toll, and it's allowing him to set them up. Watch it again. He makes his move to the outside. He makes the cut back to the inside. And that's Lillibridge. He's all over Stacy, but not until Stacy makes a big gain. So Stacy really wearing this defense down. The problem that Scotland's had is getting that ball in the end zone.
That sets up the pass. And the connection. Jay Phillips tackling the tight end, Ricky Brady, and a first down across the 35-yard line.
There's
Talked
George
about
Cargo.
George. Yeah, he wants to go into the FBI or the CIA when his football days are over. He's quiet enough to be in either one of those organizations.
He's quiet enough, but I'll tell you what, he's tough to hide. I mean, look at the size of his arms. He's not a guy that is going to walk into a room and not make an impression on anybody.
Now, he will get the bad guys, no question about it. Here's Royster. Mazio Royster near midfield. That's his longest rushing play of the season.
And now everything is working for the Scottish Claymores because they've got Saran Stacy established. Royster's running the ball well. Dave Barr is also throwing very well.
We are tied at 3 as we get ready for the final quarter. The historic and majestic Highlands of Edinburgh, Scotland, in the site of our World League game today between the Claymores and the Amsterdam Admirals. The rushing of Saran Stacy and the outstanding job by the offensive line of Scotland, opening up holes for the one-time Alabama Stars. He gets it again. Boy, he makes something out of nothing inside the 50 to the 47, and Robert O'Neill makes the tackle of the play. Tim, it's interesting to note that the secondary of Amsterdam has had to make a lot of tackles, and in a game where the weather's a factor, it's got to be wearing out even the secondary.
Yeah, but look at Stacy. I mean, he doesn't look tired at all, and he's really put a lot of yards under his feet today. Not only does he not look tired, I mean, it looks like this sloppy weather, and it is pouring out here, is not affecting him.
Well, running backs say, give me the ball 25 times, and Saran Stacy for another first down inside the 40. Give me the ball,
doing it all. He's really doing it all. It'll be a shame if they can't get some points with this guy running the way he's running. Watch it here. I mean, he's got guys in his face immediately on this draw play. He makes a move, he breaks a tackle, he runs into his own guy, and then he turns on that power.
Now, Ricky Brady with a nice block to open up the initial hole for him. Saran Stacy with 124 yards rushing. And now Dave Barr, for one of the few times today, checking off at the line of scrimmage. He gives to his meat and potatoes to the 36-yard line. Well, once again, Scotland in a 3-3 game, not since the game 1 of this season, has Scotland scored a touchdown through quarters 1 through 3.
And with the problems that they've been having with the field goal kicker, Howard, they might as well just hand this ball off to Saran Stacy and just keep running right down to the end zone, because they have been terrible with their field goals.
Well, you see all the slop, and it's a rough field, but not much rougher than you get most times during a rainy day. Barr swings it out, and Royster in the flat. One guy missed, and he's finally put down at the 32-yard line by Ron Carpenter.
I think Barr has really had a fine day. Now, I know we keep talking about Saran Stacy, but Scotland needed to find a quarterback. They had a lot of trouble last week with Spence Fisher at quarterback, not able to hit even the short patterns like this. So Barr, not only with some nice throws earlier to Ellen de Graffenried, here on these short ones, sometimes when it's slick like this and it's as wet as it is, you lose your concentration and you miss even the short ones.
Stacy with room. Got another first down to the 29-yard line. Jay Phillips knocks him down. missing and conspicuous by his absence because of the day and the success of Stacy has been Yo Murphy. They haven't gone in his direction all day.
And they planned on going to him. Now, this is just the same play we've seen all along, but I want you to look at the Amsterdam Admirals defenders. I mean, these guys are getting worn out. They're throwing their bodies around, but they seem to have lost a little bit of that spark. And that's what that huge imbalance in the time of possession will do to a defense towards the end of the game.
Again, Stacy on the move. And there was a fumble, but the ground caused the fumble, and Saran Stacy has had one of his better days in his World League career. Is well over 120 yards rushing this afternoon in a 3-3 game.
Now he's got to use Cooper's towel. He's got to get that mud off of his hands, so when he picks that ball up again, he's going to have a grip on it. And he should also wipe that mud off of his arms, because your hands have got to be dry, but your arms need to be dry too, because when you tuck it into your arm, you're going to have some of that slick mud on it.
2nd down and 8. Play fake by Barr. He's got his fullback, K.O. Halo, in the flat for a short pickup. Rich Yurkovich makes the tackle on the play, and you can tell he hasn't played much today. His uniform's too clean.
Yeah, that's always the giveaway. Didn't you hate whenever you were playing football to go home with a kind of a clean jersey on a day like today? It's real embarrassing. But you know what? If Yurkovich was real smart, what he would have done is, at some point in time, when nobody's looking, just roll down to the mud a little bit. Just so that when you walk into the locker room, your teammates look at you and you don't stand out quite as much. Little camouflage.
3rd down play, and Scotland hasn't converted much today, but they go to their man. Stacy, close to a 1st down, but appears to be about a yard shy.
I think this is where Scotland needs to just go for it.
Yeah, they've had problems with their kicking game today. Only 1 of 4 kicking field goals.
Real trouble with Stacy working the way he's working. Coelho with a nice lead block, seals the linebacker to the inside.
That's Robert O'Neill, did a nice job, the free safety.
Not a bad open field tackle at all. There you see Yo Murphy again.
Well, you ride or go to the dance with who brung you, isn't that what they say?
Dance with the girl that brung you.
Oh,
what
wow.
a play.
Great play.
I think that was Mike Evans. That was outstanding.
Yeah, it was Evans.
Evans just had great penetration, flew through the line of scrimmage, and that's a huge turnover. I mean, Scotland just can't get that ball into the end zone. Look at Evans. I mean, you think he's playing hard today? He's breaking right out of his jersey. Al Luginbill sending Mike Evans on the defensive slant play to the inside, and Evans coming up with the 4th down stopper, hitting Saran Stacy right in the backfield. Watch Evans on the slant. Gets right underneath the offensive lineman and then upend Stacy.
1st down for Fiedler. Ralph Dawkins, a gain of maybe a yard or 2. Well, with 9:20 remaining in the 4th quarter and a 3-3 game, it's hard to imagine, and you can see the reason why that Scotland is in this game. They have dominated with their running game, but Amsterdam has had their defense on the field way too long because of the success of the running game of Scotland.
But every time they get their backs to the wall, they really have made it happen. The Amsterdam defense has come up with the big plays.
Fiedler on the slant, complete. Frederick Ford knocks down Laterio Rochelle, and he hasn't played much today. His uniform is still white.
No, I mean, he's got to roll in the mud too, but Fiedler really showing nice presence of mind. He really seems absolutely unflustered by the interception that he's had, by the troubles he's had earlier with a couple of inaccurate passes. I mean, he threads that ball right in there very nicely.
So a fresh set of downs for the Admirals. Offensively from left to right. Fiedler has time and could not hold on. Ralph Dawkins, very catchable ball. Might have heard the footsteps, although I don't think you can hear much in the mud.
No, that's the truth. You can't hear any footsteps when that's sloppy as it is. There you see Fiedler's numbers. Only 7 of 19 for 83 yards. That one big interception. Fiedler has really been most impressive, Howard, when he's pulled the ball in and run around. I mean, he has been impressive scrambling with the football today.
second down. And 10 for the Amsterdam Admirals with under 8 minutes to play in a 3-3 game. Right on time. Right on time. The ball is loose, but the ground caused the fumble.
Oh, they're calling
so
it a
the
reception?
officials say that's questionable. Laterio Rochelle made the catch, and the official is going to go against the crowd.
Incomplete pass. Third down.
Oh, that will satisfy the locals.
Well, the credit has got to go to George Coghill. Watch him just lay an absolute flat hit on the receiver on this play. Here's Hall. He's got that ball in his hands. Watch Coghill. Look at that. Wham! I mean, you try to hang on to a football like that, it just is not happening. Unbelievable hit by George Coghill. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I talked about him earlier, Howard. Hey, this guy is an NFL caliber safety, and that's the kind of stuff you do in the National Football League.
Timeout.
Timeout is taken by Amsterdam.
First charge timeout.
Well, Jay Fiedler, a quarterback by trade, but a linebacker's mentality, as you can see, with the grass and the mud all over his face and helmet.
I like his attitude. I mean, I like if it's a linebacker or no, I mean, almost a nose guard mentality, you know, but I love this kid's toughness.
Third down play. And the conversion to to Robert Hall. I take it back. I was right the first time. Dedrick Smith in front of Charles Swan. It's close to a first down. Appears to be enough.
And this is the kind of pattern that you have to run, Howard, when you've got a short wide receiver. You're going to see Fiedler drop back and throw it, and it's an out cut. It's a quick out cut. And it's the break on Smith. Smith makes the break. He gets to the stick. He makes the break, and Fiedler delivers the ball.
And they're going to have to measure for this. Al is upset about the spot. He is upset about the spot.
He's lost his towel. The towel that he had earlier on his head, it just blew right off. He's so hot. They got it anyway.
Al can relax.
It's a good thing. I mean, I think they were going to have to put him in a straitjacket, you know, turn him away.
In fairness to Al Luganbill, last week there were a lot of questionable calls that went against him. And while he was upset the way his team came out in the first quarter, his team was very much in the ball game. And then a couple of calls went against him. A questionable face mask call against Lillibridge kept the drive alive for Barcelona. So, you know, I can understand his frustration. He lost a tough game last week, and that time he got a bad mark. He thought a bad spot.
And besides that, if he didn't, he was going to go crazy. I mean, he could get that back.
Now, we want to keep Al sane. First and 10 play. This is Dawkins, and Dawkins in the clear. Dawkins to the 20 of Scotland. Ralph Dawkins with a big play. Tackled by Kevin Scott.
This is the advantage, again, and we've talked about this four wide receiver formation all day. It spreads your defense out. And once Dawkins makes these moves early on the line, he's got plenty of real estate coming through into the secondary. And that's real trouble. Real trouble for a defense whose defensive backs are spread to the distant sides of both sides of the field.
Gain of 35 on the play, and Dawkins for only a couple this time. But Ralph Dawkins with the game's biggest run in a game that has been dominated by Saran Stacy. Dawkins getting a piece of glory here.
Demetrius Martin is the guy back there making that tackle, showing that the Claymores, after that last big play, the big run against them, what they chose to do was to blitz, and they sent the cornerbacks and they sent a lot of people. A nice call defensively to get aggressive after a big play goes against you.
Second and 8. Dawkins to near the 10-yard line. It'll be short of a first down. Well, we talk often about the left tackle being a mean part of an offensive line, and Jerry Kraft's, the former Buffalo Bill, is that.
Yeah, there he is. And man, if you're just out there, if you're him, you're a main part. Look at him there working on Jason Simmons, and he really collapses Simmons. and gives Dawkins the corner to run. Opens up a nice hole and really effectively seals off the whole inside part of the defense because of the movement he got on Simmons.
Well, Kraft said our offensive line has got to outplay their defensive front four, and this time Dawkins has stood straight up at the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 4th down and short. Well, Jerry Kraft, we talked to him yesterday, spoke with him last week as well. You know, he said, hey, I've made some mistakes. I've made some bad choices in my life. Hopefully it's not too late to get back to the league, but if I don't make it back to the NFL, my life's not over. I just want to do well here. And now the field goal unit will come on. Graggart to hold for Oliver Quas, who has 1 field goal today, that in the first quarter, to tie the score. You can always tell the kickers and the holders, the cleanest jerseys in the building. This will be a 29-yarder. Oh, boy. That kick was good, but they may have to re-kick it.
We have delay of the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, you're just taking 3 points off the board. If you're Al Luganville, you don't want to be haunted by that.
Still delay of the game.
That's a 5-yard penalty.
And that's on Graggart because he's the guy, as the holder, he becomes the quarterback on the PATs and the extra points and the field goals. So he's the guy that's got to watch that clock and make sure he gets the snap off, signals the center for the snap before time runs out.
35-yarder this time. And the kick is still good. So Quas had a little practice. And we have a 6-3 game with 4:08 left in the 4th quarter. Amsterdam, looking to even their record at 3-3, is on top. Well, there are the numbers. Amsterdam, in a world that is dominated primarily by soccer, 2 goals to 1.
And they've seen a lot of soccer today, a lot of kicks. 2 of them missed by Scotland and 1 fumbled exchange.
Well, for those of you that are watching in the United States, yesterday Chelsea won the FA Cup. They had a parade today in southern London that was like 35,000 people in attendance. Yo Murphy from the 15.
Yo, don't call me Llewellyn.
Yeah, Rich Jurkovic making the tackle, and Dave Barr, who's gotten his first start today. Well, his numbers have not been impressive. The one number that is the 0 on the right. There's no interceptions.
Yeah, and really his numbers aren't that bad. I mean, he's 10 of 18, so he's been pretty solid. It's much better than anything that they've had so far this season. So with the fact that their time is running out, I don't think Jim Kreiner is going to hesitate to rely on Dave Barr's throwing arm.
Well, he gives it to Saran Stacy, and Lillibridge just stuffed the hole. Mark Lillibridge, who yesterday told us, hey, last week's loss to Barcelona still bothers me. Matter of fact, he was talking about a high school game, Lillibridge was, even years later. He remembers games, specific games, and hey, you know, I take losses pretty hard, and that's a competitor. I don't have any problem with that.
No, it's a great competitor, and that's why this guy, you will see him, and he's a Dolphins allocated guy, and he's the kind of guy that Jimmy Johnson absolutely loves, and it would shock me if he's not a member of the Dolphins next season.
Play fake by Barr, and he's got Royster, first down. Jurkovic makes the tackle. Nazio Royster, a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, an 11th round pick of the '92 draft, comes up with a first down play to the 40.
And this is a touch pass here. Watch Dave Barr. He rolls out, and look at the touch. That ball goes up. It's got a nice arc. He lays it in there for Nazio Royster, making it an easy catch. That's all Dave Barr on that play.
Time of factor, 2:50 left. Scotland trying to come from behind. They go to Stacy. Moves the pile to the 44-yard line. Saran Stacy has had one of the better days in recent World League history. Well over 100 yards rushing.
Well, it's not an easy thing to be a middle linebacker in any football league. And watch Lillibridge down here working the muck, filling into the pile, and then just getting buried backwards. But really, it takes all 3 guys to get Lillibridge moving backwards at all.
Gain of 4, second down and 6. Stacy slowed up at the line, and I believe that might have been Figaro.
Yeah, see,
or Evans.
I think they've got to go to the air. I mean, you can't keep trying to run the football with, now it's down to 2 minutes, but almost 2 minutes out. I mean, even if Saran Stacy does something with this ball here, this is the time where you've got to rely on your quarterback and your passing game.
Final 2 minutes of regulation time, and Amsterdam trying to cling to a 6-3 lead. This is Royster with a lot of room. Masio Royster for a first down near midfield.
He did it all. He got out of bounds and he got the first down. Outstanding acceleration by Masio Royster.
Gain of 8 yards on the play. Littlebridge and Jones combining on the head, but Masio Royster, who has not been a factor in the Scotland offense through the first 5 weeks, has been a bit of a factor today.
The thing that they like most about him, again, is his quickness, and we certainly saw great acceleration on that last play. He covered a lot of ground.
Excuse me, Tim. He has shown the ability to catch and run. Barr got a man.
Oh, he's got him.
Oh, baby,
Oh,
touchdown. Touchdown to Yo Murphy, who has been Yo quiet all afternoon.
What a throw. I said Jim Kreiner had found his quarterback before, and now everyone knows it. What an outstanding pass by Dave Barr. He hung in there. His pocket was collapsing around him. Murphy had his man beat to the inside. Barr struck.
Murphy told us yesterday we've had enough speeches. I expect big things out of myself and the whole team, and he just got the play maybe of this football game.
He did, and he said yesterday, somebody's got to just make a play, and you said it, no more talk, no more hot air, just somebody's got to step up and make the play, and he's the guy that did it.
Parker for the point after. Scotland on top, and the fun bunch enjoying it in Murrayfield. Yo Murphy, whose given name is Llewellyn, but don't call me that.
Yo, don't call me Llewellyn.
His sister couldn't pronounce Llewellyn, so she referred to him as Yo-Yo.
You're going to see him coming down the left side. It's no secret where Barr's looking. He looks at the whole time, but Murphy beats his man to the inside with some excellent speed. And here's Barr. Look, I told you about the pocket collapsing. There's guys all around him, all over him, and then everybody just looks down and waits. That's a wonderful feeling. Dave Barr looks like he's rolling the dice. He just came up with 7.
That's the first receiving touchdown of the season for Yo Murphy, who has caught 24 balls. And obviously the first touchdown pass of the season thrown by Dave Barr. But that was as you draw it up, whether it's in the dirt in the schoolyard or on an NFL field, that's how you draw up that play.
Yeah, and you just say, you go and break to the goal line. And if my offensive linemen protect me, I'll find you there with that football. Perfectly thrown ball by Dave Barr. You can't throw it any nicer.
Russell and Carpenter on the return, and Carpenter can break it. It is Carpenter on the return. Fumbles the football, and Scotland's got it back.
Two tough plays in a row for Ron Carpenter. He was the guy Murphy beat on the touchdown pass, and I promise you he was still thinking about that touchdown pass when he tried to return this kick.
Demetrius Martin recovered it, but I think Charles Swan's the one who knocked it loose.
Here's Carpenter with that ball, and I'm telling you, Howard, he's just thinking, his mind is still on that last play. He ran right into his own guy.
So Demetrius Martin recovers the fumble. And now all Scotland has to do is just burn the clock with 1:36 left. And they add to Saran Stacey's rushing total.
Here's Carpenter returning that kick where he fumbles it. Now watch him come up and he runs right into the back of his own guy.
Timeout. Amsterdam. Second charge timeout.
That was Swan.
Timeout.
No, I stand corrected.
It was
That's Childs.
Yeah, Childs is the guy who stripped him.
Ron Childs. And either Swan or Martin recovered it. Might have been Martin, but boy, that's 2 weeks in a row for Al Luganville. And I'm not even sure that Barr was looking in Murphy's direction at all day long. Stacey again cradles the football and moves the pile. The clock continues to move with 1:16 left, now stopped.
Look at that. You don't think that's a good feeling?
We have timeout. Amsterdam. Third and final timeout. Be ready, man.
Scotland's defense again stepping up. Barr with a quarterback sneak. Dave Barr's allocated by the 49ers. It's going to be interesting the next couple of years to see the direction the 49ers go at the most important position on a football team.
I think what you're going to see is that the 49ers will try to bring in an experienced quarterback to back up Steve Young and not force Struckermiller to develop that early. And that, of course, bodes not well for Dave Barr.
Very short. So now it's 4th down. A lot of clean jerseys in that Scotland side. One of them is Cedric Saunders, who just signed this week as a tight end, and Nachi Abe. That's Saunders in motion. They pitch it to Stacey. Oh, this is close. Very close.
I think he got it, though. I think Stacey, with that last-ditch effort to put that ball forward, got it.
The spot of the ball at first look looks like to be enough for a first down. The clock is stopped with 46 seconds left. As you can see, Scotland in front 10-6 and come from behind fashion. A 49-yard touchdown pass from Dave Barr to Yo Murphy. This looks like it is. Oh, man, you couldn't put a credit card in there. It's first down by the tip of the football. Certainly not my credit card that's taken a beating the last 3 weeks.
I know it. Well, you're over here with your wife. That'll do it. Here's Saran Stacey, and watch the last effort by Stacey. Throws his body up. Now watch that ball go forward. He puts that ball forward, and until he's stopped, that's where they measure it from, because you're not down when you're on top of another person's body.
Well, Scotland has lost 3 of 4 coming into this game, and Barr takes a knee, and Amsterdam cannot stop the clock.